Everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's event, What's New with Zendesk. It's a topic I'm very excited about. My name's Frank Cuccio. I am a customer success manager at BrainCell, and I will be your host today. And before we jump in, let me cover a few housekeeping items. This will be a 45-minute interactive discussion, so if at any time you have any questions, just drop them in the question box and my colleague Sarah will interject as appropriate. We're going to be recording this event and we'll share the recording via email. It'll likely be in your inbox tomorrow morning. And finally, following today's event, you'll receive an email from Sendozo to select the gift card from a meal delivery vendor of your choice. Okay, and with that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our speakers for today's Lunch and Learn. On the line, we have Emily Higginbotham, Senior Partner Executive at Zendesk, and Ark Mandel, Senior Solutions Consultant at Zendesk. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, Frank.
All right. So here's our agenda for today. We want this to be as interactive as possible with input and questions from the audience. We're going to start with Emily giving us an overview of Zendesk, and we'll have a Q&A to learn about what's new. And we'll transition to Ark for the demo of Zendesk, and he'll show us all the cool functionality in action. And then we'll close with any remaining questions from you, the audience. Before I turn it over to Emily, I just want to give a brief intro to BrainCell for anybody who's new to us. BrainCell is a growth enablement company, and that means we focus on people, process, and technology to take a consultative approach to your business challenges in order to map out the best and fastest path to success for your company. We have a deep cross-industry vision that allows us to offer a wide-angle view on unconventional solutions because the best approach is rarely the most familiar. We also provide you with access to a team of growth enablement consultants, data analysts, and a dedicated customer success manager to ensure continuous improvement and optimization of your technology investment. We've been around almost 30 years and we're the premier Zendesk partner in North America. Okay, Emily, let's jump into all things Zendesk.
Awesome. So hi, everybody. I know we have a few current Zendesk customers on the line, as well as some people who may not be as familiar with us. So I wanted to do a quick overview. Some of you may remember the dark ages in the early 2000s when all customer support solutions were clunky, horrible on-premise things that were extremely difficult to work with and IT-led. Or alternatively, you would just have no solution at all and be working out of a shared inbox, kind of with no process and no organization trying to help your customers as much as possible. So back in 2007, our fearless founder, Mikkel, felt that there had to be a better way. So he went ahead with two of his friends and founded Zendesk. So Zendesk was really founded on this idea that customer support and customer experience was going to come to the forefront of business and therefore needed to be a lot easier and better to work with. So they founded Zendesk to be on the principles that you kind of see laid out here on this slide. So we've really been grounded in customer experience from the beginning and have been committed to making it easy and extremely flexible for both agents and administrators to grasp the solution and work with it. We've kept our APIs totally open, which has allowed wonderful and talented partners such as BrainCell to come in and build on top of our solution and make it even stronger and better. And we've really brought data and analytics to the forefront of our solution to make sure that customer support has a really strong voice in businesses at large. As we all know, numbers are kind of the vital piece there when it comes to making sure that you have something to lean on and be brought to the forefront of business discussions. So we've been extremely committed to that. And then finally, of course, we have a really strong commitment to our total cost of ownership. we have worked tirelessly to make sure that our solution is extremely cost effective. And one of the ways that we're doing that, even just as recently as this year, is by repackaging into a really concise and well-designed omni-channel suite. So even those of you who may have been familiar with Zendesk from before, past few years, some of what is now included in our suite packaging might be new to you. So across the top there, you can see our whole product lineup, many of which Ark will be able to get into later and take us through some of the fantastic and really seamless ways we blended those products. You can go ahead. This next slide I just wanted to include to kind of illustrate to everyone the breadth of Zendesk, in addition to that depth that we're going to explore a little bit more with Ark. I think it's really worthwhile to see the tremendous number of verticals, industries, use cases that can be covered from within Zendesk. So from those humble beginnings in 2007, we have grown to be almost 4,000 employees across 16 global offices, supporting these 160,000 companies worldwide. So really just like to emphasize again, as you can see from the logos represented here, this is everything from really legacy old world solutions that are getting onto this cloud stuff slowly but surely, all the way up through super innovative new startup style companies that are really leaders in the technology space. So every business represented here has found a way for Zendesk to be really impactful. So that's really what I'm trying to illustrate here.
Wow, I see a lot of companies I recognize. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. Before I turn it over to Ark for the demo, I just had a couple of questions. What makes Zendesk special? Why is it touted as the champion of customer service and experience technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this space at this point is, of course, pretty full. There's a lot of different people on the market, but a few ways that we really differentiate ourselves. Firstly, is just customer experience really is in our DNA. While the vast majority of other solutions on the market have been sort of added on, tacked onto an existing CRM, something similar, we were really founded with these principles in mind. And that's one of the reasons that I think we've been consistently at the forefront of the Gartner Magic Quadrant in the last 5 years. We've been in the leader space because of this. And then, some of those things I was mentioning before, really, I think our data and analytics and our open APIs are some of our strongest points that make this solution extensible, accessible, and really able to scale and grow with businesses in a unique way.
Right. So yeah, where most customer service things may have just been an add-on, you guys really, that's the focus.
Exactly.
So give us the scoop. What is the latest with Zendesk? Why are we here?
Yes. So Zendesk is fast moving. We are constantly launching new features and developments. We are always improving. So I could go on and on and on about our roadmap, but some of the most important and coolest and biggest adjustments this year have been the shift to this really all-inclusive suite. From a pricing and packaging standpoint, I think that's been really well received and exceptionally useful to our customers. And then from a feature and functionality standpoint, we are really coming to the forefront of this new messaging craze. So as we all know, the pandemic created a crazy business environment the past year, and customer experience more than ever has really come to the forefront of what makes a business successful. And within that, we're seeing that messaging, the ability to have these sort of asynchronous long form conversations in addition to the channels like live chat and email that we've always had, are really integral to that on demand, the way millennials and Gen Z kind of thinks, that really on demand customer experience that's so important. So with that in mind, we created an asynchronous messaging solution that is really effective. And we also included introduced like a new feature called Flow Builder that allows businesses to create their own miniature AI assistant style flows. So AI is another area, of course, that is becoming ever more important. And so we wanted to make sure that we were ahead of that curve and allowing businesses to take advantage of that technology.
Wow, I'm excited to see that in action. Other than those, features, are there any other ones that you're like super stoked about?
Yeah, I think I'm really probably most excited for Flow Builder, but also we've introduced some new reporting features. And as I was saying earlier, I think reporting is just really so integral to keeping these solutions and having them be ever improving and scaling with your company. So we've introduced some new features to our reporting around the knowledge base, which in and of itself is an incredibly crucial part of our entire omni-channel suite. Knowledge-centric support is really the only way to scale as you grow. Obviously, you can't keep hiring that headcount forever. You have to get better with your knowledge base. You have to improve the ability for customers to self-serve. So with that, our reporting that now allows you to see really awesome granular analytics about the types of articles that are getting clicks, how they're being received by your customers is going to become, I think, just crucial for people designing a better and better customer experience.
Right. Yeah. Numbers don't lie, neither do metrics.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's some great insight. All right, Ark, we're going to go over to you. Let's check out what Zendesk looks like in action.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Frank. All right, perfect. Can everyone see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I just have a couple of slides to introduce the Zendesk solution, then we'll go ahead and hop into the product here. So thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. My name is Ark Mandel. I'm a senior solution consultant here. A little bit about my background. I've been in the software space for the last 6 years. More recently at NetSuite, having some experience in the ERP, CRM, e-commerce, marketing automation, and customer experience space. And as a solution consultant, it's my job to walk you through the Zendesk solution and how we can further optimize it for your business. For the purposes of today's demo, it's more of a high-level overview, but the idea is to kind of get you excited for the product, get the wheels turning in your head on how you guys could use this for your business. So to kick things off, let's talk about the Zendesk family of products here. Really the first line of these products from support to explore will be what we'll be focusing on today, but I just want to touch upon what is included in the entire offering of our suite, right? So first and foremost, Zendesk Support is the agent support software solution. This is going to be that single source of truth where your agents can log in and see all the consolidated information they need at their fingertips around their customer. Then we have Guide. Guide is that help center or knowledge database that's fully customizable. And what that's going to allow you to do is relieve some pressure off of your agents and give your customers some self-service options. And then from Guide, we can actually overlay a chatbot, which you'll see in the demonstration, where there'll be automated responses within that chatbot, which can then connect the end user to a live agent. That leads us to Talk, which is our telephony solution. Zendesk can support inbound and outbound phone calls. In the demo today, I will go ahead and process a phone call that will be outgoing to my cell phone, so we can see that in action, which will be great. And we can, of course, integrate with any sort of third-party telephony solution. So if you might be thinking if you're already using RingCentral or Cisco or anything like that, we definitely have you covered there. And then we have Explore. This is going to be that built-in analytics tool. If your manager wants to find out about information around ticket orders or the efficiency of how quickly tickets are handled, all of that data will remain within Zendesk, right? But if that needs to be exported and you want to kind of slice and dice that data into Tableau or another tool, that is also possible as well. Then on the second line here, we have our Sell solution. That's our CRM solution within Zendesk. We have Gather. Think of Gather as a community forum solution that's going to empower customers to connect and collaborate with one another. Sunshine, that's basically what our Zendesk platform is built on. It's an open API flexible platform, and that leads into Sunco, which is our Sunshine Conversations. And Sunshine Conversations are going to allow you to share a single continuous conversation with every team in your business, and with the unified API and native connectors to popular business applications within Zendesk and Slack, everyone in an organization can get access to a single view of that customer conversation. So let's talk about some common use cases here. So in terms of an external customer use case, we have customer support, we have product and tech support, collection, sales support, etc. However, for today's use case, it's going to be specifically order support, and we're going to show you how an unassisted bot conversation can then transition to a live agent, and we'll talk about the different information that agent is going to have in the agent workspace. Moving on, we have some internal use cases as well, ITSM and help desk, marketplace apps, custom apps. We'll talk about the Zendesk Marketplace today. And then in terms of other types of collaboration, we can collaborate among, marketing, finance, legal, vendor management, partner management, and some of these different areas as well. Next, we have a slide here talking about AnswerBot, and this is definitely important in terms of self-service, but really, at this point, many of us might be accustomed to visiting a website and being greeted by a chatbot on the top left or the top right corner of the homepage. And really the value you see with the AnswerBot is you can deflect or relieve some of the pressure from your agents who may already be experiencing a high number of requests or questions from your customer. And as Emily hit upon earlier with the flow builder, that decision tree or flow for that bot can be customized to meet specific business needs and preferences regarding the intended customer outreach and support interactions. And then an example of that would be you might want to allow a customer to reach out to a live agent if the bot is not providing them with the answers that they need. And then that leads to the complete messaging solution within Zendesk. With Zendesk messaging, we can help companies connect with all of their customers across the web, mobile, and social apps all across one area. And the idea is all this conversational history, it's ongoing, right? So if it goes from live to offline, that message history is going to be retained, and it's going to be retained across multiple social media channels, including, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, really all of these various areas. And without further ado, let's have some fun finally, and let's hop into the product. Give me 1 second here. I need to share a different window. Give me a moment. Okay, perfect. So in the first demo sequence here, I'm going to show you what it's like for a customer coming to this retail website to find some information about one of their recent orders. Right now, you can see on the top right, I am signed in as a specific customer user. In this case, his name is Rick Sable. And the idea is that within the branded help center, he can find all the information that he needs, right? So one thing to note about this site is it's going to be able to scale. As I drag this down, you can see that all of the information on the website is going to be still optimized, right? So it's still going to look crisp and clean even if I drag the window here, and that's going to be the same for the mobile instance of Zendesk 2 as well. And let's look at all the different brands too within the customer website. So we have 3 different brands: Outfitters, Home Decor, and Electronics. So if we go to the Outfitters, we can see that we're getting a different flavor of the solution here than if we go to Entertainment 276. Which is going to be more around furniture. And then the last one is going to be around electronics here. So let's look for an article and say Rick can't find his order. So what's the first thing he's going to do? He's going to actually type in order, and we can see that the search within the guide is actually going to auto-suggest articles. It's going to find articles with the word that he typed in, and it's going to say, how do I track my order? Where's my order in review? Can I expedite the shipping of the order, etc. So if I click how do I track my order, I can click into here, and we can actually see a Help Center article specific for this. Rick can rate this article as helpful or not helpful, and he can also look at other similar articles in the section that are related to this as well. But in this case, let's just assume that he couldn't find the information that he needed. So what's his next option? He can actually go ahead and reach out to the AnswerBot located on the bottom right and click help and say, hello, I can't find my order. And we can see here that the answer bot's going to go ahead and give some auto-suggested articles. Where is my order and review? So let's click into that. And let's just say in this case, it doesn't help his situation because it's not the answer he needs. He needs to go ahead and get in touch with the live agent. So if we click into get in touch, Rick's going to have an option to engage in a live chat with the agent, which is what we're going to do in this case. Otherwise, if he was in a hurry, he could leave a message, which would also create the support ticket and agent workspace, and then he could kind of interact with that message later on. But in this case, we will go ahead and initiate the live chat. And as you can see, we can actually choose within the department or which department we want to specify this to, and we'll just do it as customer care in this instance. However, we can always remove this field if you don't want the customer to specify department. I need help finding a recent order. So this is going to go ahead and initiate the chat within the agent workspace. And I need to go ahead and switch my screen here. And if you heard the little beep, you can see on the top right that we can accept the chat. And let me just zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see this a little bit easier. Might be a little better there. And I'm going to go ahead and accept the chat as the agent. And we have an enormous amount of information available here. We can see Rick said, hey, I need help finding the recent order. And we can see on the left side of the ticket which brand this is tied to, who the requester is, the assignee, if there's any other followers. So if he needs to bring in another agent to kind of follow this, he has the option to do that, what the category of this might be. And then we also have various forms. So maybe there's a specific form with different fields that might be optimized for this type of request. So we can toggle between the forms, and the field on the left here would change. But that's some of the information we have on the left around where the ticket's coming from. And on the right, we actually have some information around the user. So since Rick is actually signed into a specific customer persona, we can actually see his email address, his phone number, where he's located. If we do need to add any notes to this, we can add those notes. The chat visitor path is also useful. You can see what type of information Rick has been looking for on the website in terms of what he's been clicking around. Interactions, which articles he's clicked, things like that. And then, yeah, we have 10 more, but we don't need to see that. That can kind of get an idea of who the customer is and what they're looking for. If we click on the right, we also have apps that can be overlaid on the ticket interface. So we can also see the customer 360. So how long has Rick been a member for? What's his status, right? If it's a more of a premier type status member, you want to take some additional care with the customer. As part of the resolution, if we wanted to generate a discount or coupon code, we could do like a 15% discount, generate that coupon, and then now we can enter this into the chat. So that's just one option in terms of how we can respond. If we needed to take any data in from Shopify, that app can be overlaid here as well. But you get the idea. All of that is all in one area, right? We don't need to go into 3 different tabs or swivel around to see this data that's available at the fingertips of the customer. So let's respond to Rick. Let me check on that for you. And let me share the other screen just to show you that chat's working. And then we can see the response here from the agent, who's myself in this case. So let's go back and then let's actually appropriately solve this. So let me go back to my workspace. And then we can see some of the different ways we can respond back. So we could do a phone call, right? If we needed to get to that point, more of like a complex situation, respond via chat. We can respond via an email. We could create an internal note if we needed to reference something later. Additionally, we also have the opportunity to use macros, which are pre-canned responses. And the value here is if you're onboarding a lot of agents or someone's new, or maybe it's really one response that you really need for 90% of your requests, that's easy enough to do. So if it's a back-ordered item, for example, we have a pre-canned response. It's back-ordered, that's why you can't find it, we're good to go. But before I do that, let me just show you how the the phone can be integrated here. And I'm just gonna call my cell phone. And hello?
Hello?
There we go. So I'm not going to have a conversation with myself, but you get the idea that the phone is working here, and I don't have it set up here today, but similarly, I can also receive that inbound call into Agent Workspace as well. But we are good to go there. Let's go offline here. The phone is going to have a recording of that conversation if we do need to review it for any sort of training purposes. And then last but not least, let's actually go ahead and finish this out. Let's respond to Rick with a resolution. Let's go back and let's close out the chat. Let me switch my screen one more time. And Rick says, thanks. I'm good to go. And then after the chat response has been entered from Rick, he can actually rate it as good or bad, essentially. If he wants to specify, he can rate a comment, quick response. And we're pretty much done. So at this point, I'll exit out of this. We've pretty much finished that chat conversation. The last thing that we have to do on our end in terms of the Agent Workspace is actually to close out the ticket. So in this case, we can submit it as solved. Otherwise, if we didn't find a resolution, it could be in an open, pending, or on hold status as well. And we can end the chat. That's totally fine. And we've pretty much completed the ticket here. So that's going to close this out. A couple of things too to kind of discuss. Once we go home, we can see all the tickets coming in and into the middle here. But if you're getting hundreds or thousands of tickets in a day, it might be important to be able to kind of slice and dice that information. And is my screen not showing? Oh, whoops.
Not currently.
Sorry about that. There we go. So that's better. If you're getting thousands of tickets at a time, it might be useful to go ahead and slice and dice that information. And on the left, we have what's called ticketing views. So we can see the tickets coming in from various channels, recent calls, recent chats, anything, or maybe around a specific use case, in this case, a delivery problem or a return or exchange. So that'll help you segment those the ticketing information. So now that we've kind of talked about ticketing in general and how we can slice and dice it, let's also talk about any sort of third-party apps we might need. So this is a Zendesk app marketplace, and we have thousands of apps here, and a lot of these are pre-built and are a lot of low-code or no-code solutions, so really point and click. So in this case, if let's say we needed to find one around Shopify for Zendesk, we can see that there's this one right here. We can go ahead and install this. There's ones for Salesforce, there's ones for SurveyMonkey. These are just some that I'm naming off the top of my head that we do have. And you might be thinking, hey, what if there isn't an app? That's no problem at all. Since we do have that open API, we can go ahead and create custom built integrations. We as Zendesk can help you with that. We have incredible partners that can help you with that as well. So there's options there if there needs to be a custom integration in any case. So that's the app marketplace, but let's talk about what it means as we're getting these tickets fed into our Agent Workspace and what we can look at from an analytics perspective. So if we go to our little bar up top here, we can go into Zendesk Explorer, and this is going to show us that baked-in analytics view for an admin or a manager, and it's going to help you illustrate the health of the business at the moment and how quickly some of these inquiries are being finished out, right? So if we go to Zendesk support, we can see the analytics dashboard here that's pre-built, and we have a wealth of information. Created tickets, unsolved tickets, tickets created by the hour. We can even look at the channels these tickets are coming from, whether it's chat, email, web, or messaging. And if we want to, we could even go ahead and export this into a CSV or Excel format or PDF, right? So if we need to take this data into CSV, take the CSV, upload it to a third-party solution, that definitely is an option. We also have metrics around agent efficiency, how quickly the response times might be, first reply time, things of that nature. So the idea is we're also going to give you the analytics tool as you are using Zendesk. You don't need a third-party tool to crunch the data. However, if you are using one, you still can leverage that because this is all exportable. So to summarize, really we want to hit on reemphasize three main areas. So first and foremost, we're going to give your customers easy to use self-service tools such as the Help Center and Chatbot. Agents are going to be able to go ahead and see those tickets come into one centralized area through the Agent Workspace. And then last but not least is all that data is being entered into Zendesk, all of that can be viewed using the comprehensive analytics tool called Zendesk Explore. And that's pretty much a quick overview of the solution in a nutshell. And I'll hand it over back to Frank to wrap up here.
Frank, it looks like you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, Ark, for the demo. That was great. And thank you, Emily. I think, Sarah, do you have any questions that came up in the chat?
Yeah, there was one question that came up. If anyone else has questions, go ahead and drop them in the question box. But the question, and maybe this is for you, Ark or Emily, but how hard is it to get Zendesk messaging set up?
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead, Ark.
Yeah, I can kind of begin, and you can add on as well. So, I mean, from an implementation perspective, depending on the use case, it can be as quick as a couple of weeks to even a month. So it's really, the idea is supposed to be that we should be able to set that up very, very quickly. And then in terms of the chatbot, when you do need to go ahead and create kind of unique flows within the Flow Builder tool, it wasn't set up in the data set in the instance today, I apologize, but it's all point and click, right? So you're not going to have to go in and have a developing or coding background. You should be able to do it all with drag and drop. And on top of that, there'll be a ton of enablement support around videos and our own Zendesk Help Center to give you some guidance on how to go ahead and set that up.
Okay. That looks like the only question. Is there, how do people take advantage of all these new features? The easiest way for them if they're interested.
Like current Zendesk customers or people coming on?
Yep, current.
Yeah, so I highly encourage everyone to subscribe to our What's New newsletters. We do put out, like I said, new features just all the time, and our help center is extremely robust. So if you are looking for guidance on how to enable messaging or agent workspaces, get some of those things set up, highly recommend that you check those out. And I also cannot speak highly enough of BrainCell's expertise in these areas. So reaching out to BrainCell for Zendesk help is always a good way to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Emily and Ark, for joining us today. It was great to have you both. As a reminder to the audience, we will be sharing the recording. My colleague Karsten will be following up later this week to get some feedback on the content and schedule any next steps. Also, we're offering a complimentary ROI assessment to all the attendees. We'll review your business goals and objectives, conduct an efficiency assessment of your technology stack, and make recommendations for improvement that impacts your business goals. So if you're interested in taking advantage of that, send us an email to growth@braincell.net, and we'll get that scheduled for you. Have a great rest of the week and a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And thanks again for joining us.